I'm ready to party.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Songs of the Year, 1962 this week. Any general thoughts? It's a little weird jumping right into it without our big long intros. I'm used to the album of the year format.
I feel like 1962 is generally regarded as the worst year in pop music history because I see that a lot when I was searching around. It's a weird era between, like, you had the rock and roll of like Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis, and then that kind of died out, and you have like sort of like still back to like doo-wops and remakes of like, old songs for plays and stuff like that. The classics and the tour songs and everything. And it's before the Beatles and the Beach Boys and Bob Dylan and everybody. So it's just kind of like this dead era before Motown, Crams is shaking his head, but I don't think there's any real argument.
Shaking your head on the facts. There was a Beach Boys and a Bob Dylan album this year.
Yeah, but they weren't on the charts or anything. Beach Boys a little bit. They're just starting to break in, but they weren't the cultural force that they would soon be.
62 on the Billboard, yeah, I thought was the worst one we've done so far. None of these are like some of my all-time favorite songs or anything like that. Not like, doesn't compare to anything the years before. But I do think you're getting a bigger sense of what rock and roll is about to become. A lot of artists, which I will reveal shortly.
I thought 62 is pretty comparable to what we've done so far. I didn't think it's that big of a step down, but as a reminder, 5 that had to have charted in the Billboard Hot 100 at any week during the year, 5 more that are Wildcards. They could have also charted, or they can be album cuts or B-sides or anything. And one of our lists will be one song short because we'll hold back our favorite song of the year for the end. And then we'll also give you our least favorite top 40 song of the year.
Who won last year for 61?
You won the pool.
So it's 3-1 to 1, 3-2 to 1. Jason's got 2. Let's start with the Billboard stuff. I don't think all of my picks Billboarded, which I'm pretty sure every year we've done so far, all 10 of my picks have been on the charts at some point. We've been talking about her all series long. Brenda Lee, Break It To Me Gently. Killer piano on this track. Nice jazzy hi-hat work in the back. And I don't know. Maybe other than Benny King, maybe my favorite vocalist of this era. She just kills it. I've also got Sam Cooke with Twisting the Night Away. Nice, fun, joyous, kind of like danceable, pleasant little song. He's just got such a great voice as well. I've also got Baby It's You by the Shirelles. I like this version more than the Beatles. I think the Shalas are great. I think the, classic like tambourine with the bell snare drum hits like in the background. Just give it like such that romantic sort of sensation, which I think is great. Also gonna do Little Ava with Locomotion. I love this song. I think it's really catchy. I think the lyrics are fun, pretty hip for the time. But the thing that stands out for me is the way she sings it. She's kind of like shy and cute and bashful. Like I can just like kind of picture her like pursing her lips. So she's not like enunciating all the words like in a traditional form. She's kind of like swallowing them and just being really, really coy about it. And then one of a few instrumentals I've got, I'm going with The Lonely Bull by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. Really cool sound and texture to this. Love the angelic female voice cutting through. Spanish guitar with horns and country western guitar, like outlaw lead. It's got a little bit of everything, and it's just a really nice composition. So those are 5 that charted that I can put up with for 62.
Well, you had Brenda Lee on your list. This might be the first time I don't have Brenda Lee on my list. And I don't have Ray Charles either. So I don't know what's going on in 62. My 5 Billboard, actually 4 Billboard, because I'm going to save my top Billboard for my winner. Number 5 is going to be Telstar by the Tornadoes. I mentioned this in our Muse video because it inspired Knights of Sidonia. It's also, interestingly, the first US #1 by a British band, which I didn't know until recently, when I looked it up, that's wild. There was a couple solo British artists that had charted at number one, but they were the first band and probably the last. So I don't think, that never happened again. Number 4, I got Sherry Baby from the Four Seasons, one of 2 number ones I think they had this year. Between this and Big Girls Don't Cry, both are fine. I'm going to go Sherry Baby, or Sherry, just a little bit ahead. It's going to make my list. Number 3, I got If I Cried Every Time You Hurt Me by Wanda Jackson, written by Harlan Howard, who also wrote one of my favorite 61 songs, Above and Beyond, which Buck Owens played lovely. It's one of those country artists that I don't really know, but they were all kind of using the same songs and same songwriters, and Harlan Howard's real great, and Wanda sings this real nicely. So just a good country ballad on here. And my number 2 is going to be Twisting the Night Away by Sam Cooke. Just a classic track. I'm not as big of a Sam Cooke fan as Crams are. His voice doesn't really do it for me, as like compared to some of the other greats. It's kind of boring, but I like this song. So yeah, I see you shaking your head.
Jason, you like Sam Cooke's voice? You seem upset.
One of my favorite singers ever. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe.
He's a little vanilla for me.
Ridiculous. All right.
Billy Joel.
All right. My Hot 100 tracks. And I think this, I don't know if I had any non-charting singles in 61, but I don't have any this year. I have all songs from the Hot 100. Starting off with Locomotion by Little Eva. The song's written by Goffin and King, produced by Jerry Goffin. They wrote it for Dee Dee Sharp, who had a hit with The Mashed Potato. She passed on it. So they let Eva Boyd record it, who was an unknown. It was Carole King's babysitter. Maybe why she sounds a little bashful, because she wasn't really a star or anything at that point. It was the first song released on Dimension Records, which was a new label that released a lot of the Goffin and King tracks. I also have Palisades Park by Freddie Cannon. Awesome rock and roll vocal. I love his voice on this. It's an incredibly catchy song. It's kind of a precursor to tracks like Amusement Parks USA by the Beach Boys. It's got that kind of carnival atmosphere, great organ on it, but it's just an incredible tune. I love it. Surfin' Safari by the Beach Boys on my list. I think it's a great early surf tune. And I think it's a pretty substantial improvement over their first single, which was just called Surfin'. And it has a really cool guitar solo on it by David Marks, who was an early member of the Beach Boys that I don't know if we mentioned at all in our Beach Boys video, but he was there for the first couple albums. I've got Good Luck Charm by Elvis Presley. Spent 2 weeks at number 1, and I don't know, I like it a lot. It's got a very Elvis-y vocal to it. He does a lot of his like signature uh-huhs and well, all rights and things like that. So cool song. I've got Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke, which was the B-side to Having a Party, but it also charted. It's got Tommy Tedesco, famous guitar player, member of the Wrecking Crew, on guitar. And it has Lou Rawls on backing vocals doing the call and response where they go back and forth saying, yeah. Great song. So those are my 5 from the Hot 100, but my other 5, as I said, are also from the Hot 100. So how about some wild cards?
Wildcards. I'm going to lead off with some instrumental tracks. Miserlou by Dick Dale. Whatever that vocal is, love it. It's annoying that people associate it with pretty much Pulp Fiction's intro and nothing else anymore, but man, it's a pretty good masterclass of just like frantic guitar picking, and was pretty vigorous for its time. Really awesome. I also got Green Onions, Booker T and the MGs. Really awesome, like organ-led kind of blues tune. It's just got such a cool vibe to it. And onions, the best vegetable out there. You cut them up and they go in everything. So you gotta love that. I also have Surfin' Safari. Yeah, everything about it is great. It's a great like way to just introduce yourself to the Beach Boys, gets your identity right off the bat. Harmonies are great. And back when they were like super kind of like dorky and quirky and fun kind of sound, like My Best Girl hitting the waves and doing that kind of weird vocal thing. And I'm going to throw 409 in there as well. You know, I love the Giddy Up 409. It's just a great Beach Boys song, better than just about everything else going on at the time. Like those early Beach Boys songs a lot, but going to hold off on my other wild card. Pretty sure it did not chart, but it is my winner. It'll be a wild card.
Okay. You might be surprised to learn that I have no Beach Boys on my list. No 409, no Surfin' Safari. They'll be all over it coming up shortly, though. Number 5, Dream Baby from Roy Orbison. Probably one of my top 3 favorite Roy Orbison songs, maybe. Number 4, I got Twist and Shout from the Isley Brothers. It's a little rough compared to the Beatles version, but you gotta honor the original. They really love twisting and shouting over there. The Isley Brothers. Shout was their big hit a couple years back, so now they're twisting and shouting. Also very popular. A lot of twists this year. Twisting the Night Away, Twist and Shout. I think there's a couple other ones. Kind of weird. Number 3, going back to Smokey. You Really Got a Hold on Me by the Miracles. I just love Smokey. I love his style and I love his vocals. It's a little softer compared to his breakout, Tears of the Clown and Going to a Go-Go, but still good. Number 2, this one charted in 63, released in 62, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it on in 63, so I'm going to do it this year. I got Hitchhike by Marvin Gaye, and he wrote the song, played piano, played drums. He really helped kind of build the Motown sound. This is a little precursor to it. His vocals are a little rougher when he first started out, so it's kind of cool to hear him sing in a different manner than like the real smooth lover man kind of style that he would adopt later. Number 1 is going to be He's a Rebel by the Crystals. Phil Spector produced it. It's got kind of, I don't know if it's the classic Phil Spector sound, but it's kind of the beginning of the wall of sound. And it's just really great singing. I'm not too familiar with the Crystals and those like real early female groups, but this one is just a really good track. The whole album is pretty good. Crystals were, up there with the Marvelettes is probably the best precursor to like Motown and the Supremes and everything like that. So He's a Rebel is going to be my number 1, and my number 1 Billboard will be my favorite song of the year.
A little asterisk. I just missed it. Really got a hold on me. It should be on my list. Missed it. Yeah, I would have that on my list.
My wildcard list. I have Warmed Over Kisses, Leftover Love by Brian Hyland, redeeming himself after Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini with a really well-written country folk rock song. It's so different from Itsy Bitsy. It's got tinkling piano on it, harmonica. Dave Edmunds would later do a cover of it. Really, really good song. I've got She's Got You by Patsy Cline. Just another really classic, great songwriting. Her delivery on the line, the only thing different, the only thing new, just chill-inducing. I love it. And another track with Floyd Kramer on piano. I think he's been on 1 or 2 of my tracks almost every single year so far. I've got Dion continuing his hot streak after Runaround Sue and The Wanderer. I've got I Was Born to Cry, which is a really, really cool song. A lot darker than his hits from 61. It's kind of ominous sounding almost. It's got really cool saxophone on it, and he sells the vocal hard. Not as well known as those other hits, but it probably should be. It's a really cool song. And then I've got Cry to Me by Solomon Burke. It's one of the all-time great soul singers. This was the second song of his that charted, and it is just awesome. And then I'll be holding my number 1 for right after our least favorite top 40 song.
Worst song on my list is a really good pop song. And I say that because it gets stuck in your head. It's Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons with Big Girls Don't Cry. Like a leech on my brain. It just like vacations for a week in my head. I hate the sound of it. I hate the crying. I hate it. I know a lot of this is like clever and well made and good, but I hate it. I just hate it. Nothing against Frankie Valli. A lot of talent, but that song, never want to hear it again in my life. please.
Okay, well, yeah, I can definitely see that. That falsetto is piercing, to say the least. I'm gonna go a little different route. Song by Ray Stevens, entitled Ahab the Arab. It's a good one. Here's a sample of the lyrics. He wore a big old turban wrapped around his head and a scimitar by his side. And every evening about midnight, he'd jump on his camel named Clyde and ride. So that's cool. Yeah, it's a terrible song. Just another one of these really sort of like racist songs that were real popular in the 60s. So good job, Ray.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those like pseudo-racist type of things happening. Also a lot of weird like comedy songs. I almost went with a track called My Boomerang Won't Come Back by Charlie Drake, which is kind of both. It's a comedy song and it's making fun of Aboriginal people. But I've decided to go with a different kind of terrible song for my winner. Song that I don't know, it's just such a weird position to take in writing a song. It's called If a Woman Answers, Hang Up the Phone by Leroy Van Dyke. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't play that well. It has not aged at all. And there's not really a hook to it. It's not a catchy song. So the novelty of that lyric is why it was a hit. And it's just really bad.
You mean it has not aged well at all? You said it has not aged at all.
Yeah, no, it has not aged well.
All right, I guess it's time for the winners. I don't think I'm gonna get the audience on this one, but those who do vote for my song this year are gonna be part of the Cool Kids Club. It's gotta be Boom Boom by John Lee Hooker. One of just like the first really great like electric blues rock songs. We haven't really talked a lot about John Lee Hooker on the channel or a lot of old blues musicians in general, but he is one that I don't think gets quite enough attention. Obviously, living here in Chicago, all you ever hear about is Buddy Guy, B.B. King, yada, yada, yada. JLH is right up there. This song's just got so much crazy coolness to it and just confidence. I love the line when he's like, you know, the baby talk, I like it like that. And he does his howls and all of that. And just like kind of like the grittiness of the recording and just that simple like blues riff. It's just got so much just cool style and sexuality to it and is a really good precursor to what the heavy hard rock bands of the late 60s and on are going to be influenced by. And yeah, I mean, I love this song a lot. It's a pretty strong winner for me and a good, like I said, indicator of things to come. So Boom Boom, John Lee Hooker.
All right, I'm going for a really kind of obvious choice that hopefully will get me a win finally. Lord have mercy. I'm going with Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs. I think it's just the only song from this year that sounds like it could have been released in 1970 and would have sounded totally normal in that year. Like there's no retroness to it. There's no kind of like old creakiness or sort of like, oh, okay, it's a fun novelty. Like that B3 Hammond organ is just so, like it just transports you back to like 1968 or 1967. So hearing it this early is just really cool. I know it's an instrumental, but I think it just sounds the best of any song from 1962 by a mile.
Boom Boom's a good selection. I had that in the running for my list. It was a tough cut. Awesome song, and it did chart. It did make the Hot 100. But my winner is He's a Rebel by the Crystals. It's written by Gene Pitney, produced by Phil Spector, but it is not the Crystals on the recording. It is the Blossoms, fronted by Darlene Love. Phil Spector found out that Vicky Carr was planning on recording the song, so he rushed to record his own version. And I guess the Blossoms were there. So that's who is on the recording, much to the dismay of the Crystals, who were upset to hear the song announced on the radio, knowing that they had not recorded that. In fact, they added it to their set, but their lead singer didn't really sound like Darlene Love. So eventually she was replaced by Dolores Brooks. So really kind of a messed up thing to happen to the Crystals. But yeah, check out the Vicky Carr version that Phil Spector rushed to beat, and it is just not even close. This version is so much better. It's really got everything that you could want from an early rock song. It's got like the bad boy archetype and the teenage love and the rebellion and all of it, and it sounds the way that you want it to sound. Like it embodies the story. It's absolutely great. The Wall of Sound is fantastic. Say what you will about his methods, but yeah, fantastic song. My number one.
I didn't know about that story. That's wild stuff. I was listening to other Crystal songs and I didn't even know, I couldn't even tell the difference. So it's kind of bizarre.
But yeah, there's 62, and next year we got a Beatles album, so the whole landscape's about to change. I'm sure Joe's happy about that. Any final thoughts?
Let's welcome rock and roll back to the show starting next year. Beach Boys, Beatles, Bob Dylan, I guess, whoever else is around. But it should be a lot more raucous coming up and less describing doo-wops and backup vocals.
Yeah, but I think the Billboard stuff is going to get even better in the mid 60s. So I don't think I don't think the rock and roll artists are necessarily a front runner every year. I mean, some of those Smokey songs that you named are going to be in the running. It's not going to be a clear cut slaughter or anything like that. Maybe in the nominations department, but we'll see.
Well, yes, rock and roll and Motown, which kind of, they borrow from each other. There's definitely, the production's going to get a lot better. The songwriting's going to get a lot better, more interesting. So it'll be good. It'll be good for everybody.
Be My Baby is 63, so Phil Spector's got a pretty strong shot at going back-to-back for me. But leave your favorite songs of 1962 down below and let us know what you think of our picks. Hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications and check down in the description for links to all of our social media, as well as our website where you can go to vote on which of our favorite songs of the year you like the most. And those playlists will be embedded there as well, so that you can listen to them with ease. But yeah, we will see you next week for 1963. Thanks for watching.